Hi BookTube, this is Juan from Just One Reader, and I was going to make a Friday Reads video yesterday, but I completely forgot, so I'm doing it now, so this is going to be a Saturday Reads, I guess. So this week I finished reading The North Water by Ian McGuire. I've already mentioned this in a video that I posted very recently, which is my wrap-up for the month of June. So I actually read this book during the last 3 days of June, and this novel follows a character called Patrick Sumner. He's a surgeon and he's living in the 1800s in I think it's in England, of course, and he embarks upon this adventure, and he goes and becomes part of a crew who go on a whaling ship adventure. So it's sort of reminiscent of Moby Dick. You know, it's about a whaling ship and these people who are part of the crew and how they are really manly men. You know, they are very stereotypical masculine men, and it's a very masculine feeling kind of book. So Patrick Sumner is the surgeon in this group of people, and another character in this crew is the wonderfully villainous character Henry Drax, and he's very clearly the villain, the counterpart to the hero Patrick Sumner. It's a very sort of clear novel in terms of its structure. It's very linear. It's also very much like a hero's journey in a way. There's a hero, there's a villain, there's a clash, there's also a part of the book that made me think of the movie The Revenant, because it's very much in that environment, in that feel. It's very cinematic as well, and it's cinematic in a way that made me think of The Revenant. So I really enjoyed this book. There's really nothing wrong with it. I gave it 4 stars. I just thought it was entertaining. It was incredibly easy to read, very fast-paced, very exciting. It really made me turn the pages. I thought it was just very compelling. It's a very standard kind of novel. It doesn't do anything surprising or anything outside of the box, in my opinion, but there are some interesting discussions in this book about religion, about nature, about manhood and masculinity and all of those things, about sexuality as well, morality. So it's a very sort of, I felt like it was a very epic novel, but condensed in a very small package. So I really enjoyed that. And then I started reading one novel this week, which was Brideshead Revisited. The way that this looks on screen doesn't do it justice. It's such a lovely edition by Back Bay Books. I am reading this with Sarah from Hardcover Hearts. This is, of course, the masterpiece by Evelyn Waugh. Evelyn Waugh is a writer that I have read previously, but just a little. And I remember reading his book, I think it's Vile Bodies, and that's a very beloved novel, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that book's writing style and comedy and tragic comedy, and this one is even better. This one has to be one of the best books that I've ever read, and I'm only on page 104. It's absolutely dazzling. The writing is so elegant and layered and beautiful, but also very readable, incredibly readable. It's fast-paced, but at the same time, it's careful and quiet and meditative, but there's a lot of dialogue, so it's one of those books where we have this English, aristocratic Oxford male characters having long discussions. If you don't like that, you might do well to read this book, because this book does it greatly. It is sparkling. The dialogue is sparkling and effervescent, and the characters are quirky, but also they have a burden, they have a pain, a suffering. It's a wonderful book. I'm only, as I said, on page 104, and I already think this is going to be my favorite novel of the year. I mean, or one of my favorite books of the year. It has to be. This is absolutely spectacular, and I haven't actually discussed it with Sarah yet. We are having our first check-in tomorrow, Sunday, so I really am looking forward to listening to her thoughts, but this is just absolutely wonderful. There's so many wonderful lines here. So that's Brideshead Revisited. And then I also continued with my reading of Joyce Carol Oates's collection of short stories, Lovely Dark Deep, which in my opinion has a cover that doesn't do it justice. I think the cover makes it seem feminine and like, I don't know, I think it gives off a different vibe to what is actually in the stories. So I have read like maybe 4 stories in the collection so far, so I am slowly making my way through it. The last 2 stories that I read, I mentioned the first 2 in one of my previous wrap-ups. So the third and fourth stories that I've read in this collection, which are, the first one is called Distance, and it's about this woman who is arriving to a hotel in Las Vegas, and it's all about her psychology. We are really getting into her mind, into her psyche. She has a lot of turbulent thoughts, and that's really what the story is about. There's no plot, there's no action, it's just her ideas and how she's having ideas and feelings for another man, but there's kind of a reflection on that relationship, and that's really what the story is about. But the writing is just great. And then the fourth story is called A Book of Martyrs. There you go, A Book of Martyrs. And it's actually as I understand it, it's the idea that Joyce Carol Oates then developed into her novel, A Book of American Martyrs, which is a long, like 700-page long novel. And this is sort of the idea for that. And it's about abortion. It's about a woman who is undergoing the procedure of an abortion. And it's a very intelligent and interesting conversation about rights and abortion and manifestation and imposing your own beliefs on someone else. And it's just such a layered, nuanced story. And again, the writing is exactly the kind of writing that I love. It's clear, it's clean, it's precise, there's no fat, there's no filler. It's just exactly what it should be. So I'm really enjoying reading that, and I will continue to read it this week. And then if things go well, when I have some time available, I want to start reading Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. This book is 959 pages long, but people say that it's very readable and very fast-paced. So fingers crossed. And I don't know if I will be reading this chunkster of a novel exclusively, or if I will be reading some other things alongside, or I don't know. It all depends on the experience of reading it. It all depends on whether I am finding that I need to read some other things while reading this, or if I should just stay with this novel and read it as quickly as possible in a very sort of like bingy kind of mode. I don't know. What do you say? That's Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. So thank you for watching this video, and if you have any thoughts, any ideas, any recommendations, I'm here, and we can engage in conversation, in the discussion, in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.